Pricing within the UK accounting and bookkeeping sector has undergone a significant transformation over the years. What started as a rigid, hourly-based model has now evolved into a dynamic centre-client approach that balances efficiency with value. To understand where we are today, let's look back at how the prices have developed and how it's driven over these changes. The early days were hourly rates. In the early days of our profession, pricing model was simply hourly billing. Accountants and bookkeepers charged clients based on the time spent working on the books. This approach was easy to calculate, transparent in theory, and ensured practitioners were paid for every minute of their efforts. However, the hourly model had its flaws. Clients often felt disconnected from the true value of the service, focusing solely on the cost rather than the outcome delivered. Similarly, practitioners found their earnings potential capped by the finite number of hours in a day. Over time, it became evident that this model wasn't conducive to fostering strong client relationships or enabling firms to scale. The shift to fixed fees. By the late 20th century, firms began to explore fixed fee pricing. The approach brought predictability for both clients and practitioners. Clients appreciated knowing the upfront way in which they would be charged, while firms streamlined their invoicing to reduce disputes over timesheets. Fixed fees were incentivised originally by the practitioners, who implemented automation, streamlined the processes so they could deliver the services faster without compromising profitability. However, fixed fees were not without their challenges. Many firms struggled to set fees accurately, often underestimating the time and resources required. This sometimes led to the resentment as clients received more value than fees reflected. Now, where you've got to be careful is, I had somebody come in and said, I've got this, that and the other that needs doing, and he brought a file in that was quite neat, and I give him a price. He says, I've left some stuff at home, I'll drop that in tomorrow. Foolishly, I give him a fixed fee price. The next day, he brought 4 bin bags in that were stuffed full of receipts. This is before we used optical recognition systems and things like that. So they all had to be put in order, into dates and one thing and another, and then run through for duplicates. You know the system where you get the petrol receipts, where sometimes people get it twice, things like that. It was a mess. Tomato sauce all over stuff. So since then, I will not give a price unless I have everything at hand. I know that sounds straightforward, but I've been there. Now, the advent of technology, I've tried some systems where they give you onboarding tools and fixed prices and this, that and the other, but the figures that come out, people just won't accept them. So yes, it had all sorts of different things you could put in to make it more or less what you wanted. But realistically, I was charging about 25% of the figure that was coming out. And if you put something else on it when you sat down with them, I think the software, and again, this is no disrespect to them, it'll have got better, it was called Time's Up. Believe me, it caused me a few headaches. Anyway, the advent of technology was data-driven prices. In the early 2000s, marked the turning point where the rise of technology in accounting and bookkeeping, cloud-based software like Xero, QuickBooks and Sage revolutionised the way practitioners manage the client data. These tools often streamlined process but also revealed real-time insights into client activity, data that had become invaluable in the pricing. This gives us an idea of the volume, the payroll size, how good the records were kept, and we could tailor the fees accordingly. And this is where the emergence of key pricing indicators came up. Now, the rise of value pricing, the rise of value-based pricing, and we're going to actually go into this in some real detail in my next course. In the most recent years in the industry, has seen a shift towards value-based pricing. This model moves away from changing the time or tasks instead of focusing on the outcome and benefits the clients receive, whether it's peace of mind, tax saving, or improving cash flow. Value-based pricing fees reflect on the implementation and protection of the client's business. Value-based pricing empowers the firm to change their expertise and results that they deliver. rather than just the effort. It requires deep understanding of the client's needs, confident ability to communicate the value being offered. Now, the modern changes and innovations in the accounting and bookkeeping industry is more complex and more exciting. We must navigate increasingly the competitive landscape while adapting to the client's evolving expectations. The shift towards digital tools and automation introduced efficiently highlighted pressure to justify the fees in the basic compliance tasks increased our needs to make sure that we had this right for them. Remember, our clients can look on to our records. If you use QuickBooks, they can actually go and do everything and see what we're actually doing and how much work we've done. Now, at the same time, advancements in pricing tools such as Engager or Time's Up, things like that, do make it easier to give prices, but you've got to be very careful. We tailor our solutions to reflect the unique circumstances of the client, ensuring fairness and profitability. Now, lessons from history in the accounting and bookkeeping industry is testament to the profession's adaptability. From hourly rates to fixed fees, and now value-based and value-driven models for ourselves have constantly evolved to meet the needs of their clients and realities of their business. The key takeaway: pricing is not static, it's a dynamic process that requires onboarding, reflection, refinement, and responsiveness to change. As you develop your pricing strategy, remember the lessons from the past. Embrace, like I learned, embrace innovation, understand the value you provide, and don't be afraid to adapt. The future of pricing in this industry is bright with the right approach. You can ensure the firm remains sustainable and profitable for years to come.